Dry tonight, with showers becoming confined to western coastal counties and lowest temperatures 6 to 10 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
Thanks to Scewfix.ie, championing the trade with a dedicated call centre.
This is News Talk.
Evening everyone, so we've got a really good lineup on tonight's show. We're going to replay you OTBAM's exclusive interview with Eamon Fitzmaurice, now former Kerry manager. That is coming up this hour. We have the football show, which will include Harry Redknapp and Chris Kamara. What a lineup that is. And then it's the eve of the fourth and final major of the year. We sit down with Peter Lowry and Damien McGrain. 53106 is your text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. It's just myself and Will O'Callaghan this evening. Will, hello.
Evening, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, very good. So everybody's abandoned ship. Myself and Nathan Murphy were down in Carlow Golf Club this morning. We were playing with Damien McGrain, who's the pro down there, and Peter Lowry. And then that's where we recorded our USPGA chat. So that's where we've been all day. You have been speaking with Chris Kamara.
I have. He has been doing a gauntlet of interviews today, as you can understand, ahead of the weekend. But we're just having a chat and a cup of tea beforehand, and he was saying genuinely, as he goes into his 23rd season on the TV covering football, he's as excited about going to QPR Sheffield United this weekend as he was doing his very first broadcast.
He lies.
I don't know. I think he actually loves his football.
How many interviews had he done when he got to you today?
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was thrilled to see you.
He was delighted.
Yeah, here we go. Okay. Well, nonetheless, Chris Kamara on the way around 9:30. Harry Redknapp sat down with Dave McIntyre a few weeks back, so we're going to bring you that interview with Dave. That's all on the way on the football show. We'll get into the golf with Damien McGrain and Peter Lowry just after 8 o'clock. We'll play out that interview. Myself and Nathan sat down with them. It was actually quite difficult to sit down with, Peter played with us, and even begin to in a tiny, very respectful way criticise Rory McIlroy after what he had seen Nathan and I produce on a golf course over the previous 5 hours.
Talk about armchair critics, like.
I mean, it really did crystallise the fact that we should be saying nothing about any of these players. And Peter was good enough not to mention how bad our golf was, but there were a few times where we would hit certain shots and then he would just look at us, and I don't want to know what was in his brain. It was puke in his mouth. I don't know what was in his brain. So
did McGrain play with you as well?
No, he didn't. He's the pro down there in Carlow now.
I think it was seen as a massive coup about a year and a half ago when Damien McGrain was going as pro to go and play in Carlow. Right. Like, Carlow's a lovely course. I mean, I don't know how you found it, but like as courses go, I think it's one of the kind of hidden gems around the country. It always does really well on the listings when the golf magazines do them as well. But then McGrain went in. It was just like a big high-profile boost when it was announced about a year ago.
We don't have many European Tour winners, so they have one of them. He's been there about 6 months, said he was enjoying it. As you'll hear in the interview, interestingly, he's like, I don't really miss golf. Didn't really like golf that much. Don't love golf.
Yeah.
You know, like Padraig Carrington loves golf and probably gets some kind of sensory pleasure from hitting a 7-iron well. McGrain's like, nah, that's all just a means to an end to be like, he likes the competition, but isn't fascinated by the game, doesn't love the mechanics of the swing. None of that nonsense. He's like, I like playing golf to be in a competition. So he doesn't miss it. And he's also very interesting, as you'll hear, on caddies, because we were kind of asking him, should Rory McIlroy, for instance, who has his mate, Harry Diamond, on the bag, should he get a professional caddy? And McGrain is absolutely of the opinion, yes, and yes. And I was thinking it was for reasons like, give me the 6-iron instead of the 7-iron kind of thing. He's like, it's not so much that. Like, they're the best player in the world. If you give them the wrong club, instinctively they'll hit down on it a bit more. They'll hit a soft one in and they'll adjust. It's more, he said, especially on a Sunday and especially on the back nines, especially in America, you need a caddy to tell everybody to shut the hell up. Yeah. And like to take charge of the atmosphere and the situation around the player, where you might have a couple of hundred people. Quite often on the PGA Tour, they're all drunk, or they've been having a few drinks, or they're bored.
And they're shouting potato and whatever else.
Yeah, and the marshal holding up the old silence sign isn't doing it anymore. And actually, you want a Stevie Williams type to go, everybody, shut up. You, if you rustle that packet of crisps, I'm going to wallop you. And not to have the player have to deal with any of that stuff. Whereas he suspected someone like Harry Diamond, especially starting off, will just be timid in that scenario. And actually will kind of be as nervous or more nervous than the player. And the last thing you want to see is when you look over at your caddy, them kind of going, Oh my God. I don't want to screw up here in any way. I'm so sorry.
I find that relationship kind of intriguing between the two as well, because just thinking of Shane Lowry currently, where his brother Alan is carrying his clubs for the last 2 weeks, and he's had an upswing in form. He's finished with 2 top 20s the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Looks a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just a case of you've got your caddy there, and I'm sure from McIlroy's point of view, it's probably a case of having Harry Diamond for the mundane parts of a week, going for dinner,
Totally.
someone to drive around with, someone to chat to back at the house.
To be fair, McGrain didn't say it's not without its benefits to have your mate on. He said, like, Monday and Tuesday are a lot more fun, Wednesday in the Pro-Am's better, and even Thursday, Friday to a point, you know, if you're playing well and it's going fine, it's great. And actually, them being on your bag might relax you enough to play well enough to be in contention on Sunday.
But the point being, McIlroy is not converting Sundays with the exception of the Ireland Parliament this
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. And so he feels it's more on the Sunday where it becomes a thing. Now, he accepted the mate on the bag may be one of the reasons you're playing nicely enough to be in contention on a Sunday. So it's a complicated kind of thing. He's very interested in it. So that's part of the discussion. And then we just get their predictions for the USPGA, which no one's going to be able to watch on TV, such as the genius of those.
I'm really uneasy about this idea that we have to watch it on Facebook or an app, and there's no guarantee how the app is going to work. And it starts tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's
probably going to end up signing up for 11, most likely, just to try and watch it.
Well, you should, because you get the first week free.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer. I mean, if it's a complete disaster, then you get it for free anyway. So you'll be able to watch it, but I mean, the viewing figures are going to be massively down. We should start a Newsround. So this hour, Eamon Fitzmaurice is on the way. Really good interview with Owen Sheehan on OTBAM, recorded on Monday and went out today.
No, recorded last night. Went out.
Recorded last night.
It was in the Boar's Head last night.
It's been a long week.
It has.
It's been a bank holiday. I'm all off. I'm over the place. So he's very interested in a few different things, not least the criticism that the players are receiving, that he's receiving. So we're going to replay that out in about 10, 15 minutes' time. Interestingly, James Horan last night said he got the guards involved in a couple of letters he'd received.
Yeah, like the fact that winning managers are getting so much hate mail is what really surprised me. I know John Kiley was speaking about it last night as well. Micheál Donoghue, who we'll hear from in a few minutes' time as well, said that himself and his selectors have received quite abusive messages and get abuse about the way the team is set out and so on. And that's from a team who's going for back-to-back All-Irelands. Yeah. I wonder what the story is like with managers maybe further down the food chain who aren't successful.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's dreadful and it shouldn't happen, but it probably always has happened to an extent. And what are you going to do? There are just idiots everywhere.
I think you have to have a fairly thick skin if you're going to become an inter-county manager.
Yeah, which won't be a news flash to anyone.
Yeah, and that's not to excuse any of the kind of stuff. And something that Eamon Fitzmaurice saying about the player who received it, who said 4 of you should jump off the edge of a cliff. You've been so poor for the team this year. Like, that's bang out of order. But I'd imagine you probably get used to a few letters coming through. In this day and age, probably texts from numbers you don't know, calls from numbers you don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's been happening as long as probably managers have been around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'd imagine it makes it very hard at the end of the year when you're reconsidering. Imagine it's your own county like Eamon Fitzmaurice. Do I stay on for another year? Do I need another year of this?
Yeah. No, it's I mean, it's poor form. There are just some sad idiots out there, and unfortunately they're able to get your home address, which is the grim thought. The Newsround is brought to you this evening with Scewfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products. And this James McGrath, the referee James McGrath story, has kind of caught everyone. So he's taken to Facebook to announce, that's that, I'm done. I didn't get the All-Ireland final.
This escalated a little bit because last night when I was going to bed, I saw a post from James McGrath and I was thinking, okay, this is just initial frustration when you haven't got the final. Surely you either delete this tomorrow or you just let it blow over. But James McGrath announcing today he's stepping down from the national panel after being overlooked for this year's All-Ireland hurling final between Limerick and Galway. The initial post was, I'm paraphrasing slightly, but it said, don't put me on standby, use me or lose me if you want me for the final. And since then, he has decided to step away. He says he feels betrayed by the association. And then he also wished Owens and his team well on Sunday week as well.
I mean, maybe he should have waited until after the final, because I don't think it's fair really on James Owens and Johnny Murphy and all the team to bring it up like that and to make this a big thing. Yeah. I think you are tarnishing their day a little bit. Maybe it's not James McGrath's intention, but I think you are. His statement, like, you just wonder in a few weeks, is he going to regret this? Like, he says it is final and irreversible given the lack of trust, confidence and integrity by CRAC, and I feel betrayed by the association as a consequence given my 18 years of unbroken volunteerism. Like, it's a very emotive, pointed kind of a statement.
Like, I can't help but think that James probably thought he's had a good year refereeing this year. He didn't ref a semi-final. So when you've done a quarter-final, done the quarter-final reasonably well, you think, I'm not down in the semi-final, I've got a really good chance. I'm doing either the minor final or the senior hurling final, most likely this year. The only thing about being put on standby, that was his route to becoming the All-Ireland final referee twice. 2012, 2013 were after draws.
He was in standby both.
And there's a really good chance that this game could end up being a draw this year, given the way the semi-finals went.
Yeah, look, I don't know James McGrath, and he's obviously very upset. It didn't seem like the greatest way to bow out to me after such a brilliant record, but...
And perhaps importantly, still had a good few years to offer to the panel as well. So you've lost both him now and Brian Gavin at the end of last year as well. So two very experienced multi-final referees, both gone within 12 months.
Wouldn't be the first person in the world to take to Facebook angry and then a few days later think...
Is this an accusation at me?
Uh-oh. No, no. What have you got to hide?
I don't think so.
Let's dig up Will O'Callaghan's Facebook right now. Lads, 08 was a great year for Irish golf when you look back on it. McGrain, China Open. Laurie won the Spanish Open. Harrington won the Open and the USPGA. McDowell, the Scottish Open. Clark won on tour that year as well. He did. It's hard to believe it's 10 years ago. Stephen in Listowel, yeah. God, when you put it like that, pretty amazing. And then the Walkins 10 Beckenbauer says, lads, only heard about the hate mail this morning. Shocking stuff. Surely there's a way of tracking these letters with stamps and CCTV, etc. to catch these people. I presume there is. I presume you have to go to the guards to do it. But I presume there is. Subscription, can't talk very well tonight. Subscription services are taking over in sport. UFC sold events to ESPN for their app. It's forever money for these apps and companies taking the cash instead of viewers from Neil in the car. Yes, absolutely, that's the way it's going. Ronan Phelan is excited by the Eddie Brennan news.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting one because this kind of came out of left field. Laois had their interviews last week for their next hurling manager, and they've announced this evening that Eddie Brennan will be the new Laois senior hurling manager. The 11-time All-Ireland winner, 4-time All-Star as well, has been put forward for ratification by the O'Moore's selection committee, so he'll go before the county board at the start of next month. And he's fairly familiar with the area as well, because Eddie was a Garda in Port for quite some time. He's now working in the Garda College in Templemore. He'll succeed Eamon Kelly, who stepped down this summer after Laois failed to reach the final of the Joe McDonagh Cup. So he's the first kind of Cody's great teams that's now got into senior management as well.
Yeah, it's true actually. Where they all been? Going to give Tommy Walsh a bump and get him into doing it as well. So we mentioned Damon Fitzmaurice. He's going to be on in about 10 minutes time. You had Micheál Donoghue as well?
Yeah, he spoke to us earlier today just on the back of Eamon Fitzmaurice's comments and Galway doing their press today ahead of the All-Ireland final on Sunday week. Limerick's John Kiley had said last night he still gets hate mail even if the team wins. And Micheál Donoghue said today he feels that getting abuse from supporters almost feels like part and parcel of the job.
As I said, I think it's the unfortunate world we're in, and society, where people think they can take certain liberties, and I think every manager receives probably some mail, from different sections of the public, and I think it's part and parcel of it, and whether you take or read much into it, that's your own prerogative. I think sometimes people, on the outside don't really appreciate or comprehend the amount of work that's been put in, particularly number one from the players, the sacrifices and, as I said, the commitment they make is just incredible. And, it's at the end of the day, it's an amateur game, and, what everybody associated with every team, the amount of time and effort they put in, it is to a professional capacity, everyone goes in to do the job the best they can, and as I said, everyone's entitled to their opinion as well, but sometimes it probably just goes a step too far.
Yeah, unfortunately it does, but what are you going to do?
Elsewhere, Spanish goalkeeper Kepa looks like he's getting his world record transfer to Chelsea. His club Athletic Bilbao have confirmed today an €80 million buyout clause in his contract has been met, which would make him the most expensive goalkeeper ever, more than 10 million more than Alisson's transfer to Liverpool just last month. Kepa will be a replacement for Chelsea's regular first choice Thibaut Courtois, who looks to be holding out for a move to Real Madrid. Madrid midfielder Mateo Kovacevic could move to Chelsea on loan as part of the potential deal. Unless, of course, Real Madrid pull out at some point tomorrow and leave Chelsea in a very awkward position. Yeah,
it's a very interesting transfer window given the different deadlines. Hugh Lynn on Twitter reckons, don't think referees count replays as having done an All-Ireland final. McGrath ref the replays in 12 and 13. Yeah, we were saying that they were replays in 12 and 13. I mean...
they're still finals.
You should. I think the players count the replays as finals, especially the players who won. So, I don't know. I don't know why he didn't get it, first of all. And I presume he would have got one over the next couple of years.
I think so.
He obviously feels he wouldn't have and has gone off. I wouldn't be shocked if he rethinks this over the winter and says, do you know what, I'll come back. Unless there's personalities and politics here. And like when he's using lines like the lack of trust and talking about integrity, the lack of integrity.
Yeah.
There's some people there that's very much aimed at directly, and maybe it doesn't come back, but you think bridges could be mended. We'll see. Anyway, I mean, I don't think it's the greatest way to bow out, but we'll see how it goes. So the Jack Grealish situation then.
It looks like he's staying at Aston Villa at this stage. They've rejected a £25 million bid from Tottenham Hotspur. That bid coming in just 2 days before the transfer window closes. It was lodged yesterday. Spurs have been linked with the former Republic of Ireland underage international all summer. But the Villa boss Steve Bruce says he's received assurances from the club's owners that Grealish now won't be sold before the window closes at 5 p.m. tomorrow.
You'd be sickened if you're a Grealish, really.
Yeah,
like from your career point of view, you're jumping a few rungs in the ladder to pitch in at Spurs under that manager.
I cannot understand why Spurs didn't make a bid while Villa needed the money.
Yeah.
If they had made that 25 million bid a month and a half ago, he's gone.
Yeah, just go up to 30 or 35. Yeah. If you want him, just get him. They've literally signed nobody. So, we'll see how
Daniel Levy way.
Yeah, they have until tomorrow, 5 o'clock. That's when the transfer deadline closes.
In England.
Yeah.
Wolves have made their record signing as well. They've been very busy. Adama Traore has moved from Middlesbrough for an undisclosed fee, but thought to be around £18 million. Celtic are in action in the Champions League qualifiers, third round tonight at Parkhead. They take on AEK Athens. They know the winner will play the Swedish club Malmo or Hungarian side Vidi in a playoff, and that's the last round before the Champions League proper. Cork City have some injury problems ahead of tomorrow. Their Europa League third round qualifier against Rosenborg. Damien Delaney and Gary Buckley both major doubts. Delaney is carrying a knee injury, while Buckley picked up a groin strain in their win against Waterford, where he scored last weekend.
And then Berlin,
you've got two Irish athletes in action in the next few minutes. Having completed a switch from Team GB to Ireland just 5 days ago, sprinter Leon Reid goes in the semi-finals of the 200 metres. The first of the semis just about to go there now. It'll be his first time to run in the Irish Fest. Emma Mitchell is in the 10,000 metres final, which gets underway at 20 to 8. Not been the best of days across the European Championships for the rest of the Irish athletes. Marcus Lawler from Carlow didn't make it through from the hurdles 200 metres heats this morning. 16-year-old Tanya Watson placed 7th in the final of the platform diving. That was the 10 metres. It is her first ever major finals. Another teenager, Mona McSharry, missed out in a place in the 50 metres breaststroke final. She was 6th in her semi-final taking place in Glasgow. Ryan Mullen was 6th overall in the cycling time trial at the European Championships in Glasgow. The 5-time national champion finished in 54 minutes 19.21 seconds, which was just 13 seconds outside the medals.
Okay, Will, thanks for that. We'll be seeing you across the evening, not least with Chris Kamara on the football show. I should mention, by the way, if you're still looking for roadshow tickets for our show tomorrow in Galway at the Roisin Dove, then there are a few available, not many. Nathan's going to be there alongside David Brady, so kind of already I'm sold.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. But bonus guests include Michael Meehan, Ray Silk, Pat Comer. We'll have Ricey McMenamin. We'll have Monaghan represented by Banty McInerney. And then Charlie Redmond will be there as well for the dubs. So it'll be a look ahead to the semi-finals, all in association with the new Boyle Sports app. Tickets are free. Like I said, pretty much gone. There's a few left. So if you do want to go along to the Roisin Dove tomorrow, then just go to offtheball.com/events and you can register and you'll have the ticket that you need on your phone. So we're taking a short break. We'll get into the golf after 8 o'clock with Damien McGrain and Peter Lowry. After 9, we've got Dave with Harry Redknapp. We've got Will talking to Chris Kamara. And up next, we're going to replay you that OTB interview with Eamon Fitzmaurice. So that's on the way.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Thanks to Scewfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products.
The Pat Kenny Show. Back tomorrow.
The real dangers of those occasional cigarettes. We'll hear how Spanish authorities are cracking down on the deadly trend of balconing. Betrayed by Ireland, the woman who found a more promising life in Berlin when she lost her Dublin home. And the story of the dog who became a sergeant in the US Army.
The Pat Kenny Show.
With MasterCard.
Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. on News Talk.
If your business can't afford to be waiting around for things to happen, let's fast forward to a time when My Taxi Business is helping you take control of your taxi account with online management tools to make the job of managing company expenses so much easier. That was easy. And when you need to get your staff from A to B in a jiffy, My Taxi